Relax, sit back as we fill your mind with spooky true crime stories of the deranged, unhinged, and absolute pure evil murders that will blow your mind. Some places we will visit to show you around and educate you on the history. Other times we will bring you to the paranormal because the dead never lie silent for too long.
Be the last time anybody sees us alive. I don't know where she has us, but we're gonna get fucking killed.
Hello? Gina, there is a beehive over there. Do you see that in the hole?
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Great.
I am. I was going to say that, so going to let you guys know. So Gina, every once in a while, she'll tell me like, okay, the story we're doing today, I put it in the drive, print it out. And I was like, oh, okay, no big deal, right? Because usually, you know, I mean, granted, we do use like 18 font because we're old ladies and we need to read the paper and to get our facts straight. But we usually have 7, maybe at the most, we've had like 10 or 12 pages of notes for us to read from at the very most. I mean, that's like very most. And so today I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll print them out, you know, whatever. So I open it up and everything. 17 pages. So just letting you guys know.
That's why I will not be in charge of writing anything anymore.
No, it's so good. It's so good.
Because
Strap
what happens
your
is like
because you are in for a long ride today.
No, because what happens is I start listening to podcasts and then I'm like watching TV, I'm listening to something at the same time and I'm just like taking notes. So it's like, and then when I try to like put it all together, I've got like 4 different stories going on. It's a mess. You should see. Yeah, it's not pretty. And then
I know, because this weekend she does text me. She's like, I sat down and I started writing, and just to let you know that I revamped it all and I continued writing and I got more stuff in there. So you're going to need to print this out. I'm like,
well,
perfect.
because the first one I did, we're going to talk about, American Nightmare.
Yeah.
The show
Netflix
on Netflix.
show.
So we're going to talk about that show. But initially Shannon and I had, decided to just kind of do like a blind reaction to it. We were just going to watch the show, talk about it, whatever. But then we had somebody message us, a listener message us and says, hey, can you guys do a deep dive on Matthew Muller? Well, at the time, I didn't know who Matthew Muller was because
and these
I hadn't.
people probably don't either, but you will learn.
You'll learn who he is.
17 pages, so you will know.
What I had planned before wasn't really like a deep dive, and this really isn't either. This is just going to be more or less the case and going over the show, the TV show, and like different podcasts and stuff that I've listened to on it. And to be truthful, there's not a lot out there on this guy.
Oh, okay.
There's not a whole lot out there. So I think maybe we're going to have to wait a little bit for things to be brought up.
Well, the show always, it seems like these Netflix shows always brings up more information. You have more discussion. People start diving into it. You got,
so give it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of things will come to the surface.
A lot of the YouTubers and podcast and true crime people are going to, you know, pull up paperwork, read, you know, evidence, all that kind of good stuff, like they do with that Chris Watts case. You know, that guy, no one really knows his name, but you know that guy, you know, you don't need to learn about him. Yeah, that one guy, you don't need to learn about him. No one knows anything about him. So, and then you'll, then we'll know everything about Matthew Muller in a year or two.
And we can go on.
Yeah.
I do want to say I'm very, very proud of myself. I am on day 19 of eating plant-based.
You're clean eating.
Yes,
I'm proud of you.
I'm so proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too.
And I thought it was going to be hard. I thought I was going to struggle, but it has not been a struggle for me at all. Not one day.
That's so good.
Yeah.
You know what my struggle is that I forgot that I told you I'd do that with you. And then some days I'll go get food and I'll like forgot that I'm a plant-based eater. And so, it goes out the window. So, needless to say, I've cheated every day since. So, day 1.
It's okay. It's all right. It sounds weird, and I've told people this, but like, I feel like a different person inside. I told my mom the other day, like, my hands don't feel like my hands. They don't
feel inflamed, right?
Yes.
Because the inflammation goes down when you go plant-based.
And like visually, like I never had like my feet never were swollen.
Yeah.
It's not because it's not water retention.
No.
It's inflammation, and it's so different, and it's fucking bizarre. It's the most bizarre shit ever. Like I feel like my shoulder, but like it's so weird. I'm gonna sound like a fucking lunatic if I keep talking. But yes, it's very, very crazy. And I'm like not here to promote any of this, but I'm just,
you're not a dietitian.
I'm really fucking proud of myself that I did this. So I'm on day 19.
That's really good.
And I've lost 6 pounds.
And that's without even trying.
That's without
and you
even
weren't
trying.
she wasn't doing it to lose weight.
No, I'm not doing this to lose weight, and I'm hoping to not lose any more weight. That is definitely not my goal.
It's for the inflammation and the bloated.
But I think because I'm like losing it slowly, I'm hoping that like it's not going to be like drastic. Yeah. So if anybody out there eats plant-based, send me some recipes. But I'm a very picky eater too, so keep that in mind.
Well, I did look down at my stomach today, and I was inflamed and bloated.
Oh my God.
And so I might need those recipes too. So please send them. So let's do this dive into.
So here we go.
The American Psycho. It wasn't American.
It's
Psycho.
called American Nightmare.
And
yes, so it's on Netflix. Heidi from Radio, our friend Heidi, she's the one who turned me on to it. Her and I were talking about the Scott Peterson case, and she said, "Have you seen American Nightmare?" And I said, "No, I haven't even heard of it." She said, "It just came out on Netflix. You need to watch it."
And it's only 3 episodes.
It is only 3 episodes. And I went into this show blind. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't read on it. Nothing. Denise Huskins, she's 29 years old. She's the girlfriend. And then there's Aaron Quinn. He's 30 years old. He's the boyfriend. And this takes place in Vallejo, California, which is
north of us.
So the two had been dating about 7 months, and Denise had just recently moved to the area for a job at Kaiser in the physical therapy department, which is also where Aaron worked. I believe they were both physical therapists.
Yes.
So the two hit it off right away. Aaron had just gone through a breakup with his fiance, and her name is Andrea Roberts. And that's another rabbit hole that I want to go down that I haven't.
I was wondering when they were going to do that on the Netflix episode, and they never touched on it.
Yeah, never did.
But she worked with them in the same office.
But as you'll learn, this whole thing happened because of her.
Well, she was the target.
Yeah, she was the target of all this. Andrea had been cheating on Aaron for almost 2 years, which is what led to the two separating. And Denise had recently felt like Aaron was being a little distant and wasn't really present in their relationship. I think she had maybe seen some text messages, maybe just the way he was acting, whatever the case may be, said he was acting different. She went through his phone. She discovered that they had been texting each other. Aaron wanted to reconcile with Andrea, and I don't think Andrea was up for it, but he still said, "I miss you. I really want to work this out."
Yeah, he was kind of seeing Denise, but trying to rekindle this relationship with his ex.
Yes. So Denise brought up this whole situation to Aaron, and he said that those weren't really his true feelings, and that he was just struggling getting over the whole situation. So they decided to take about a week's break and to be on their own to, kind of sort through their feelings, whatever the case may be, to see if this is really something that they wanted to pursue. So on Sunday, March 22nd in 2015, Denise went to Aaron's house to try to talk these things through and see where this whole relationship went wrong and how they can fix it. So the night ended up going very well. They had dinner and drinks together. They talked things out, and they agreed that they would leave the past in the past and move forward together and continue this relationship together. So about midnight, they go to bed. 3 a.m, the couple starts to hear strange noises in their house, people talking and rustling around. They then saw a bunch of flashing lights and red dots being posted at them, kind of like laser pointers. And somebody says, "Wake up, this is a robbery." Yeah, I would lose my mind. This person made them both lay on their stomachs, put zip ties on the bed, and told Denise that she needed to zip tie Aaron's hands and feet together. So this person then said, "We aren't going to hurt you. This is a financial matter. This has to do with money." So after Denise put the zip ties on Aaron, this intruder, which was only one person talking to her at this time, told her to put her head down and walk to the closet. He then zip tied her arms and her legs, and then he put Aaron inside the closet with her. So just imagine that somebody has come to your house.
I'd be
You're being
terrified.
woken up in the middle of the night by all these lights flashing, laser pointers, which to me, if somebody pointed a laser pointer, I would think it's a gun.
Yeah, I would have thought that. Yeah, one of those sniper guns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They make you zip tie your boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then they zip tie you and take you to a closet. That in itself is, I would have probably just passed out by that point. Just been like, take me now. Just take me now. He puts swimming goggles on them with the eyes blacked out.
Yeah, it's all like
so they can't see anything. And then they put headphones on them. So at first the headphones are playing like soft elevator music. And then the headphones start to play these pre-recorded messages to them that told them to stay calm, that they weren't going to be hurt. And this was all about money and not about hurting them. Then the recording said that a doctor was going to come in and see them, take their vitals, and give them a sedative. And if they were to refuse this sedative, that they would be given it through an IV. So they were going to give them something orally. If they wouldn't take it, then they would give it to them in an IV. They took their vitals and then asked them if they were taking any medications that would interact with NyQuil and diazepam, which is Valium. So they were nice enough to ask them, like,
any drug interactions.
by any chance, what are you taking?
You know what now that you're repeating this, because I did watch the episode, I'm thinking, are they in the medical field? Are they have something to do with, like,
Right.
I don't know. Cause these,
You just carry like a blood pressure cuff and a stethoscope with you all the time.
and you're
or
asking about drug interactions
Right.
and even caring about it.
Right. They both said no, that they weren't taking any medications, and they both took the sedatives orally. And then the messages continued in their headphones, telling them that someone would be coming to gather personal information on them, like banking information, credit card information, their social security numbers, like basically sounding like somebody's going to steal their identity is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
So Denise was then taken to another room in the house, and they told them that if they didn't give them their banking information, that the other person would be shocked or cut in the face. It sounds like at that point, things quickly took a turn. One of the intruders comes in and has Aaron take his headphones off and says, "We have a problem." And he asks him, do Andrea and Denise look alike? Now, Andrea is his ex-girlfriend. Denise is his new girlfriend who is being zip-tied in the house with him. He says, yes, they do. They look alike. And Aaron said that he felt like there were multiple people in the house at this time. So he then hears them talking about moving forward with the plan, even though this wasn't Andrea and that it was Denise. So it sounds like they kind of had a little meeting together and were like, hey,
We're already here.
we got the wrong chick, but we got to carry this through. Like,
We're already here. He's already zip tied.
exactly. Like, let's
just do this.
just do this. So they then put the headphones back on Aaron, and another pre-recorded message plays saying it said Andrea, but they were going to take Denise for 48 hours, and Aaron would have to pay a ransom to get her back, and that this was an organization from the dark web. And so they said that they did this all over the world to collect financial debt. So, I mean, if this is like a bill collector, like this is what bill collectors do?
Imagine.
No.
Shit. Okay, hold on a second. I got some bills to pay.
I'm like,
Hold up.
I mean, it made me kind of
Cancel the
nervous,
podcast.
like to say that this is an organization from the dark web and like this is how you collect financial debt. Like,
Yeah.
man, I better buckle up because, yeah,
I got some bills to pay.
exactly. So they said that this was what they did, and that they will continue to follow them and would know if Denise and Aaron went to the police with all of this. So Aaron was taken downstairs to the couch in the living room, and they left him scissors so in the morning that he could cut himself free. So there was an area on the floor that was taped off, and this area was, he was said, like, you can't go out, you can't leave this area. I have a camera in the corner. There was like a camera up there. I'm watching you. You can't leave this area. Something's going to happen to you. So they left him his phone, and they also left him Denise's phone, because they told him in the morning, you're to call in sick to work. And then I also want you to use Denise's phone to call or text her boss from her phone. So if it's traced, it would come back as her number. I want you to text them and say that there was a family emergency and you're going to be gone a week.
That's a lot of thought.
There's a lot of
planning to this.
A lot of planning to this whole thing. He said, after that you do all that I'll send you more text messages. I'll give you what to do next. So he was also told that he would need to go to the bank in the morning to withdraw money, and they were going to take his car, and that they would text him the location of his car later on, so he would know where to pick his car up. So he was told that he needed, I believe it was $8,500.
I'm just going to say, and I'm no bank robber, or I'm no, terrorist
No.
or ransom person, but I do know, and I don't know why not everybody knows this, you cannot go to an ATM and withdraw $8,000. Like, there is not an ATM and not a bank out there that'll allow a person to walk up to an ATM. And so I don't know why these people do all these high demands. Like, I hear a lot of these stories, like on Dateline and stuff, like they told me to go to the ATM and withdraw $3,000. I'm telling you, my bank only allows me to do $500 through an ATM, a 24-hour period or something like that. I'm sure other people might have a little bit of a higher amount than me, but not much. Well, I think it avoids this.
What they told him to do was, they told him that they wanted I think the total was $17,000, and they asked him to do a cash advance on 2 different credit cards of $8,500 each, because if it was over $10,000, then you have to
it gets flagged.
It gets flagged.
Yeah.
So they told him to get a cash advance on both credit cards.
Cash advances don't come to you right away. Like, you ask for a cash advance on any.
I've never
card,
taken a cash advance. I don't know.
The check has to come in the mail, or it gets deposited into your account, but it doesn't happen in minutes.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I have no idea.
I'm like, I don't know either. I've never taken a cash advance on my credit card either. So
yeah, so that's what they wanted him to do. So he unfortunately, or fortunately, he only qualified for $3,500. So he was not going to be able to give them the money. He also told him that there were cameras throughout the entire house that would be watching him, and that he should not contact the police at all. And if he did, that they would know, because they're watching him. So before these people left the home, they asked Aaron if he was okay.
So they're concerned with his well-being at this point.
Yeah, so they're asking him, like, hey, are you okay? And he told them no, he wasn't, and that he was a little cold. And so he said the intruder told him, I didn't realize how cold it was because they were wearing wetsuits. So these intruders were wearing like neoprene wetsuits.
It sounds a little bizarre. Like, if you go back and you think about it.
And let me just say that when I first started watching this, and I watched the boyfriend's part and then I watched the girlfriend's part, and I said, they are so full of shit. I did. I'm just going to be brutally honest.
Well, because
I was like, this guy is full of shit. And then I watched her and I was like, and she's a liar.
Because Gina went into this, just so you guys know, I knew about the story. I already knew that everything came out. I already knew that they were telling the truth. at this point because I had heard the story. But when Gina went into this, she knew nothing about this story, hadn't heard anything about it, didn't know if they were being truthful or not. So you thought it was a Gone Girl type situation.
I did.
Which
And
they kind of refer to too, which
correct.
is funny because they hadn't referred to it until... Well, I mean, of course they referred to it before you did, but before you even watched the
before
episode
I watched it, that's where my head went.
That's where your head went.
Yeah,
And
that's exactly where my head went. So they give Aaron a blanket and then they took Denise and they left. And he said that he could hear them outside and he could hear the trunk of his car shutting. And so at that time, he assumed that they were putting Denise in the trunk of his car. Then he was able to take off the goggles and he saw that it was 5 o'clock in the morning. So he then fell asleep. He's like drifting in and out of consciousness because you give somebody Valium and NyQuil.
Yeah, just remember he's drugged. So imagine like you taking a sedative.
Right.
Even though you want to react, because that was their biggest complaint is like, why didn't you react? What took you so long? Why weren't you like reacting, scared, fighting? Once you take that drug, you're like, like you just want to lay down and go to sleep. Like your mind's not working how it should.
So at 7 o'clock in the morning, his alarm goes off because I'm assuming that that's probably what time he would wake up for work in the morning. And so he texts his boss and he said that he wouldn't be coming into work. And then he used Denise's phone to text her boss saying there was a family emergency, just like he was asked to do. So then he falls asleep again and he wakes up around 11:30 in the morning. He was then able to get the zip ties off his arms and his legs. So that right there shows you that this guy was tired if he's falling back to sleep with his arms and legs zip tied.
Yeah.
So he then saw that he had all of these messages from these kidnappers and that there was one from his own personal email. So they're using his email, one of his emails, like a personal email, and emailing another one of his emails. So it looks like he's emailing himself, basically. Yeah. And then this is where the messages come in, like that they need the $17,000 and they need it split between 2 bank cards to tell the bank that it was to buy a ski boat. And then he finds out they're only going to give him $3,500. So while all of this is going on, Aaron noticed that the camera in the corner of the room was making noises, and he started to wonder if they were even working correctly. So he then decides that he's going to call his brother, Ethan, who's an FBI agent. So he explains everything to his brother, and Ethan tells him, you need to call 911 immediately. Get off the phone, and you need to call. A little before 2 o'clock, Aaron calls 911, and he tells the operator that his girlfriend had been kidnapped.
And when you listen to this 911 call, he sounds very calm. But again, he is coming off of Valium, NyQuil. He was drugged. He was sleepy. Valium doesn't go out of your system right away. Right. So it's something where it's keeping him calmer than he probably would have normally been. Of course. In this situation.
Well, and I know that like sometimes you take NyQuil and like you wake up with a hangover.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That shit's full of alcohol.
Yeah. Headache.
So, you know, I'm sure between that and everything else that they gave this guy, like his whole head was spinning on top of everything else. Like imagine you're waking up and you're like, did I dream this? Is this real? Is this like what the hell's happening? You know, you start questioning yourself for your own sanity.
2 police officers were sent to the house, and Aaron tells the officers that he had been drugged and his girlfriend had been kidnapped. The officers started to go through the house and were questioning Aaron about how many people were at his house the night before. Why were there so many beer cans in the trash? And just to say that he did, you know, spend time with her the night before. They were drinking, talking about their relationship.
And I think that where that came in, the confusion came in, is because when they got there, there were 3 glasses that were on the table. And so they were having a problem with, why are there 3 glasses here? I thought it was just you two. He had to explain to them that I have a separate bag for all my beer cans. I let them pile up and then I take them out. We didn't have a party.
We didn't have all the beer cans in one night.
Exactly.
Am I allowed to use more than one glass when I'm drinking the night before? You know, I could have started with white wine and then went to red wine, needed to change a glass. Or I didn't wash the glass from the night before.
Exactly.
It's
or
silly.
maybe I'm smart and I drink water while I drink alcohol, you know?
Could be, right?
Yeah, I know my limit.
So they removed Aaron from the house and started to look around. They saw that the comforter from the bed was missing and there was a drop of blood on the sheet. They also commented that the house looked very clean, and they asked Aaron if he had cleaned or vacuumed recently, and he said no. Aaron was brought to the police station for more questioning. They took all of his clothes and gave him a jailhouse uniform to wear. He was then interviewed by Detective Matthew Muller. And this is the saddest part, because they stuck him in this because they already off the bat did not believe his story.
Exactly.
They already had doubts. Not even trying to listen to him, not even trying to give him the benefit of the doubt without any other further evidence.
No.
They already were like, this guy's did something.
The stuff that they put this poor man through.
After all
when
this.
Go back and watch the show if you haven't seen the show, and they have clips of it in there of them questioning him and stuff like that. It is so sad that he says at one point, I was starting to question my own sanity, and that is how they break people down, and that's how they get false confessions.
Absolutely.
I believe that they questioned him for 18 hours straight.
This kid is coming off of Valium and NyQuil. So he's calm in this initial interrogation.
Yes.
But I can see where he's questioning himself, because he's like, shit,
because they're not even the way that this Detective Mustard, he's not even questioning him at this point. He's telling him what happened.
Yeah.
This is what you did. This is a hoax, and you set this up, and you this, and you that.
Oh, no, he didn't even say hoax. This is, what did you do with her? What did you do with her body? Where is she?
All this stuff in his mouth, basically, and it's not even an interview. You can't even really call it one.
And just a reminder that poor Denise is still
gone.
Kidnapped.
They're worried about pinning this on him.
And what did he do with the body?
And comparing him to Scott Peterson, basically.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, it's just shitty all the way around.
So instead of Detective Matthew Mustard focusing on the kidnapping, he was more interested in the text messages that Denise had found between him and Andrea. He then told Aaron that he thought this whole kidnapping story was a hoax and that he made it up to cover up that he had murdered Denise. He told Aaron that everything he had just told him didn't happen. And it did sound far-fetched. You know, he did.
Like I said, I'm telling you.
Wetsuits, you know, he was saying, where did these guys come from? From the ocean, you know, things like that. He was making these smart ass comments, but this is his real experience. You know, you got to remember, he experienced this for real.
Absolutely.
And this guy has not even an ounce of empathy in case it might be true.
Nope. He just goes right in there swinging.
Yeah. So Aaron, however, stuck to his story and couldn't believe that this detective was insinuating these things. And that's the key piece on this too, is that Aaron never swayed from his story.
Exactly.
It never changed. Nope. The details never changed. When you lie, your details change. You don't remember how you said your story. You know, you get little back and forth. But he was very consistent on these men came in, the lights shone, you know, they had the laser pointed at us. The story stayed the same every single time.
It was detailed. Most of the time when people are going to lie and make up a story, it's very brief.
Yes.
Because it's something that not a lot of detail that they have to remember. This was beyond details.
Very detailed, and the story stayed the same.
Yes.
So Aaron showed him the emails from the kidnappers, and the detective told him that he sent those emails to himself, which is kind of smart on the kidnappers' part because exactly what he would have thought would have happened. Yeah. Detective Mustard then told Aaron that there was a video cameras all over his neighborhood and that they would be able to see him dumping Denise's body. He told him that the public would quickly know that he was responsible for killing Denise and that he would be treated like Scott Peterson. They also interviewed Aaron's parents and brother and told them they believed that Aaron was responsible for all of this. Then they contacted Denise's parents and told them what happened and also said they believed that Aaron was the one behind all of this. Denise's parents then flew to Vallejo. And just so you know, Denise's parents did not know Aaron very well. They had just started dating. The parents weren't introduced to him. This is like basically their first meeting with this kid.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah. And so they're kind of taking, like, what did you do with my daughter? Like, you know, they don't know what to believe either.
Yeah, of course.
An FBI agent then comes in and asks Aaron to take a polygraph test, to which he agrees to. After Aaron takes it, the agent proceeds to tell him that he had not only failed the test, but failed it miserably. After being questioned for over 18 hours, Aaron's brother Ethan was then allowed to go in and see Aaron. The detectives were hoping that Aaron would confess to his brother. Aaron breaks down telling his brother the same story that he's told the police from the beginning. Ethan then decides to get Aaron a lawyer, Dan Russo. Russo immediately asked police if Aaron had been charged with anything. After being told no, there were no charges, Russo took Aaron directly to his office to work through all of this. And same thing, he told the lawyer asked him, I know you've been saying the story over again, but I need you to go over it with me again. Tell me again.
Tell me again.
And again, his story didn't change.
Yes.
And I don't like the fact, I understand that police are allowed to lie in order to get confessions, but I just don't think it's right to tell somebody they failed a polygraph test when they did not fail a polygraph test.
Yeah.
So
I would have been like, show me the results.
So yeah, because, or I would have just thought, okay, I've been drugged.
Yeah.
My heart rate's I'm already nervous. I don't know how these tests detect
my girlfriend's
lies.
missing.
Exactly. I don't know where she's at. So I don't know what you're detecting on these tests, but it's definitely not my lies.
Exactly.
You know? Meanwhile, the authorities had hundreds of people searching for Denise, and the news of her kidnapping was all over. Because this was a really nice community.
Yes.
These things, you know, we always say this is, you know, on some of these places, these things don't normally happen in this neighborhood, but it's an actually really nice neighborhood of Vallejo.
It's Mare Island, I believe, is what it's called. And it's a very small, close-knit community for sure.
The way that the authorities were telling the story, the majority of the public began to side with them in believing that Aaron was involved in her disappearance. On Tuesday, March 24th, a reporter from the San Francisco Chronicle receives an email from one of Aaron's email accounts. It was titled, Denise Huskins. It said, as stated, Miss Huskins will be returned safely tomorrow. We will send a link to her location after she has been dropped off. She will be in good health and safe while she waits. Any advance on us or our associates will create a dangerous situation for Denise. Wait until she is recovered, then proceed how you will. We will be ready. At the bottom of the email was a link. When he clicked the link, it was a recording of Denise. It was her saying, my name is Denise Huskins. I'm kidnapped. Otherwise, I'm fine.
Yep.
And again, if you hear this, she's very calm.
Yes.
But again, they continue to give her drugs as well.
Yeah, she was sedated. Yeah.
She was sedated.
And probably terrified.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, at this point, you're probably just going to do what they tell you to do in hopes that they're going to let you go.
Oh, for sure.
So Detective Mustard still wasn't believing the story. And when Denise's parents got to Vallejo, he asked her mom if anything bad had happened in her childhood, which I think is a kind of maybe a strange question to ask.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I could be wrong, but maybe it happens all the time. But her mom says that when Denise was young, that she was on a camping trip and she was sexually assaulted. The detective told Denise's mom that sometimes when this kind of thing happens to children, when they grow up as adults, that they kind of reenact this and make up a lie to get that attention again. And that
isn't that disgusting?
It is.
That there's a man out there that actually thinks that.
Mm-hmm. It just really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
So now the authorities were insinuating that Denise had faked all of this for attention, which to me now takes it on a different route. Like you're really grasping at straws to try to make this story fit your narrative.
Yeah, because all of a sudden now they know Denise is alive. So now it's, Aaron didn't kill her.
Now she wants attention.
Now
we're going to throw it on her.
Yeah.
So on March 25th, Denise's father called the Vallejo Police Department saying that he just received a phone call from his neighbor and said that Denise was knocking on the neighbor's door. Denise's father lives in Huntington Beach. So the police went to the Huntington Beach address that Denise was said to be at. And when they asked her what happened, she had the same exact story as Aaron. So very detailed, same exact thing. She said that they put her in Aaron's car. They drove her around for a while. She was transferred then into another car. While all this is going on, she said she was slipping in and out of consciousness, which again, absolutely, like that's going to happen when you have that amount of drugs in your body. They eventually took her to a house and they kept her in a room, and they continued to give her sedatives that made her continually drift in and out of sleep. She said at this point they did not have any sexual contact with her whatsoever, and that they were very nice to her. And then they put her in a car and they took her back to her neighborhood where she grew up in Huntington Beach. And she says that they dropped her off and told her to count to 10 before she removed her goggles. And she looked at the street signs when she took them off, and she recognized that the street name was the street where she grew up. Obviously, she's very familiar. So she went to her mom's house, knocks on the door. There's no answer. Then she walks a mile to her dad's house. Again, no answer, because her parents are now in Vallejo looking for her.
Yes.
So the next door neighbor heard her knocking and came out and said that she should come in his house and call her dad. So once the authorities started to question her, she realized, I'm probably going to need a lawyer at this point, because I'm sure the things that they were telling her, now they're putting blame on her. Can you imagine going through everything that this woman went through and then finally getting to a point where you're free and you have the authorities with you,
and you're feeling safe at this point?
Exactly.
You think they're gonna,
and now all of a
save
sudden you're like, holy shit, I need a lawyer.
Yeah.
This is not going to go the route that I thought it was. Denise contacted her cousin Nick, who had just recently become a lawyer, literally had just got, maybe, I believe he passed the bar like a week prior. It was it was very, very soon, like right after. So they connected Nick with Detective Mustard, and Detective Mustard told him that they would offer Denise immunity if she confessed. Confessed to what?
Confessed to what? Yeah. Thank you.
So he also said that they would be offering immunity to Aaron, and whoever confessed first, immunity would be granted to. So now they're working one against the other.
Yeah.
You know, like, you going to do it first? Is he going to do it first? So Denise was then connected with her attorney, Doug Rappaport, and Denise immediately got on the plane, flew to San Francisco to meet with her new lawyer. So she quickly learned that this was all over the media. When she first is out, she's not realizing that this has been blasted all over the media. This is all over the news.
Story.
Yeah, this is all over the news, and they're basically portraying her as Gone Girl.
When she finally got a hold of her attorney, who's in San Francisco, when she got a hold of, he's like, this is the girl that they're talking about on the news that did the hoax.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she realizes this. So he told her, you need to get on a plane and get down here.
Yeah.
So we can listen to your story, because this is being blasted as you guys are lying.
Yeah.
The cops who are doing this, they never get reprimanded or punished for bringing out this false narrative, not doing their job.
No, nothing
They're
happens.
literally rewarded and given promotions.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nothing
It's
happens.
ridiculous.
Yep. Yeah.
I'd be embarrassed if I went out and
absolutely. Absolutely.
I'd be like, okay, I'm not supposed to be a cop. Like,
Exactly.
literally, I don't know how to be one. I quit.
Yeah. So the police were telling the public that Denise was no longer cooperating with them during this investigation, and they had no idea where she was. So during a press conference, and this just grinded my freaking gears to hear this. His name is Lieutenant Kenny Park, and during this press conference, he basically just says that this is a waste of the department's time. You're wasting resources. He refers to it as a wild goose chase. And shame on them. It's infuriating to watch this, because not only the stuff that this guy is saying, but the way that he is saying it puts a really bad taste in your mouth for these people. It really, really does. They're so cocky. It's disgusting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So cocky.
I remember when this story came out. I remember when he came out and did all this. I totally remember this story.
Yeah, I don't.
And I remember thinking, like, how terrible of that couple to do that. Like,
exactly.
For them to lie.
Hello. That's what I was saying the whole time I was watching this freaking show.
Like,
I was like, you are a liar.
Yeah. It's like, why would they do that? Like, what would be the motive behind them doing this whole entire hoax?
What are they, exactly.
Yeah.
What are they trying to get to?
What are they trying to get? Yeah. And then you come to find out that it was the truth.
Yes.
But
it's disgusting. It really, really is. So Denise couldn't believe that all of this was being said about her and Aaron. She also was shocked that they were comparing her to the movie Gone Girl, but she had never seen the movie. So when Denise finally met with her lawyer, she explained in more detail what had happened to her. She said that the kidnappers told her that since she wasn't Andrea, Aaron's ex, that they didn't have any dirt on her.
I want to know what that dirt is.
Right? Because of that she was going to have to basically have sex with one of the intruders, one of the kidnappers. And so they were going to record it.
Kind of like a blackmail leverage.
Yes. And if she ever went to the police, that they would release this video all over the internet. So after the whole thing was said and done, they recorded her. They told her that they had to do it again because she didn't look like she was enjoying herself and it didn't look real. So they made her do this again, where she had to actually, I believe, kiss this person.
They had to make it look like it was consensual.
Exactly.
And that he was not raping her.
Right. So during this time, she was with her kidnapper. He told her that he was in the Marines, but she wasn't to tell anybody. And that she also wasn't to tell anybody about this whole sexual confrontation that they had had. So then they put her in the trunk of the car and they started driving her back to Huntington Beach. So during the drive, she was sedated, she says, for the majority of the drive, which I feel like was probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Because who wants to be rolling around in a trunk for 6 hours?
Of course.
You know?
And then just want to go back to the time when she got to the house, the neighbor's house, and they called the cops and the cops came. They had asked her specifically, did you have sex with any of the, did they have, rape you? Did they do any of this thing, with you? And she said that in the back of her mind, she wanted to tell them the truth, but she was like, I'm going to tell them no. I can't tell them the truth because I don't want this video getting out there. Mm-hmm. And it was not only for that. I think they made other threats to her. So she was really terrified,
of course,
to tell the truth about what happened when she was held hostage. And she did attempt to try to escape a couple times, but she realized she was locked in this room. She was looking around. The room was boarded up. She didn't quite know where she was at. So then, because she said she was like trying to remember certain, like, which way was she turning?
Yes.
How was the road like?
Exactly.
Trying to.
Got to remember, even if you're laying like in the trunk, you don't even know which way you're driving at some point.
Yeah.
So for her to try to remember, but I feel like when things like this happen to you, it's like a fight or flight thing. Like this is just what your head does. Like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to remember where I'm at and where I turned and what I did and what he said and what he sounded like and everything.
She did confess to the lawyer what did actually happen to her. So Denise's lawyer called the Vallejo Police Department and told him that they wanted her to go to the hospital to have an exam done. They wanted her to get a kit done. And they told him that they would determine if that was necessary after talking with her the following day. So they would not even allow her to go to the hospital.
Nope.
To get... If I was her, I'd been like, screw you. I can go to the hospital and get a rape kit done. Like, I don't need your permission to do this.
Right.
Like, would you not want to, if somebody did that to you, to take a shower and clean yourself off? And they're literally saying, nope, can't do it until after she talks to us. You can do it after she talks to us, but bring her down here so she can talk to us. So but she agreed to it. She said, okay, fine, I'm going to go. So when her lawyer expressed concern about them waiting so long and potentially losing evidence, they told her to sleep in the same clothes that she had on and not to shower.
Can you believe that?
How disgusting. Like, this Detective Mustard makes me cringe.
Like, not only to take into account everything that this woman has been through, but now you can't take those clothes off, sleep in them, don't shower.
Exactly.
And then on my clock, when I'm ready and I think that,
I'll meet with
we
you.
should do this, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
And I'm going to interrogate you and call you a liar
In the meantime.
in this whole process and keep you from getting this kit done.
Yeah.
I hope this man does not have a wife and kids or daughters, because God forbid, like, it's disgusting. So when Denise was finally questioned by the authorities, they treated her the same way they treated Aaron, accusing her of all of this being a hoax. The following day, the San Francisco Chronicle received another email from the kidnapper. This time it was 15 pages long. He said he was very upset that they didn't believe Denise's story, and attached pictures of a room that they kept Denise in. They said that they were all highly skilled, college-educated individuals and that they had been committing other crimes to prepare themselves for this kidnapping. They claimed that they go on to commit bigger crimes. They said that they felt bad for taking Denise since she wasn't the person they were initially after. They needed to send this letter to defend Denise and Aaron's story. So the kidnappers wanted people to know that we are an organization.
Yes.
We did do this. We've done it in the past. We're going to continue to do it.
Yes.
So you need to believe them.
Yeah.
They also
this isn't fake.
This isn't fake, right? They also insinuated that if this wasn't cleared up, it would cause a great deal of harm to the residents of Mar Island. Weeks passed and Denise and Aaron still were having their names slandered in the media. A few months later, in June, in Dublin, California, about an hour from Vallejo, a call was received from a woman who was frantic. She said there was an intruder in their house and her husband was fighting off the intruder as she was hiding in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So she's making this 911 call from the bathroom. She told him that there were bright lights and laser pointers being pointed in their faces, that the intruder left zip ties on the bed and instructed the woman to use them to tie her husband up. Story sound familiar?
Right?
Yes, it does. Her husband jumped out of bed, scaring the man, and the woman ran into the bathroom. The husband was hit over the head with a large flashlight. When the authorities showed up at the couple's home, they found that the intruder was so caught off guard by the husband that they had dropped their cell phone. The man was literally trying to take their daughter, and the husband was fighting him off. Mm-hmm. And he actually dropped his cell phone.
Yep.
And the daughter got away.
Yeah. Thank God.
Yes. The authorities were able to find the owner of the phone. It belonged to a woman that lived in Orangevale, California. And this woman explained to the police that the phone belonged to her son and he had lost it the day prior. So they asked her, "Who is your son?" "His name is Matthew Muller." And they asked, "Where's he at and where can we find him so we can return the phone to him?" Because they weren't telling her why. They just said, "We want to return the phone to him."
Of course.
She told him that Matthew was in Lake Tahoe at the family's lake house. The authorities found out that he had been in the Marines for 5 years and was honorably discharged. He also attended Harvard Law School and was practicing to be a lawyer until he was disbarred in 2012. Oh, he was a practicing lawyer.
He was. He, I believe, practiced immigration law.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he had also been married and divorced.
Yeah.
The Dublin police immediately went to the lake house and knocked the door down. When entering, they said that the house was a complete disaster. Matthew was in the home, and when police asked him if he knew why they were there, he answered yes. He was immediately taken into custody. When searching the home, they found laptops, phones, zip ties, duct tape, squirt guns with laser pointers attached to them, swimming goggles with the eyes blacked out, and also a white Mustang that had been stolen. One of the detectives on the scene noticed that on one pair of the goggles, there was a blonde hair stuck to one of the pieces of the tape. Nobody there had blonde hair, and that detail really stuck out to her. And just so you know that these aren't the police that went to Matthew Muller's, the one that found the detective that found the hair was not connecting the dots back to Denise and Aaron. So at this point, the police are strictly there
Yes.
for the Dublin, California case.
Right.
They aren't there
No.
for Aaron and Denise.
No.
They are there just because of the lead from the phone in the Dublin case. So I want to make that clear. So at this
Yes.
point, the team that went in is not Detective Mustard's team.
No.
It's not the Vallejo, California team.
No,
It's
this
the
is from
Dublin,
Dublin. Yeah.
California team that went in to arrest
Yes.
Matthew.
Yes.
So this detective who's making these observations, hero.
Yes.
Because she is not good. She's the one who needed to find out who this blonde hair belonged to, because the daughter of the daughter that they were trying to take did not have blonde hair. Nope. She had dark hair. So just wanted to clarify that, at this point, they're not there arresting him because
Exactly.
of Aaron and Denise.
No. So while Muller was in custody, police found him to be a person of interest in 2 cases from 2009. Mind you, this is 2015. One of them being in Palo Alto, California, where police had gone through reports and found that Muller was the one breaking into these homes, these like home invasions. So the authorities called him in for questioning, and he came in and immediately lawyered up and refused to answer any questions. He then disappears and left his wife, and he leaves her a note. And it says, and this is the actual note that he leaves her. I'm going completely off the grid. No phone, emails, credit cards, etc. So please do not try to track me, as that will only draw attention. Any commotion at the apartment is also not likely to go unnoticed. I have problems beyond my mental health. I live in terror most of the time and can't keep up appearances any longer. And this is perhaps the least extreme thing I can do to resolve it that does not also expose everybody to criminal liability. When he says, I have problems beyond my mental health, I'm not saying that I feel for him, but I feel for him.
Yeah.
Because as we've learned in many other cases that we've talked about, like, mental illness is a real thing.
It's no joke.
And who knows how long this man has been dealing with this, obviously quite a while. So for him to leave a note like this is obviously a cry for help, but just a little too late.
Yeah.
And how, I don't know. My first thought was like, how did his wife not see the signs? Were there no signs? And I could be totally wrong. That's just my wheels spinning. So a few days later, Muller called his wife from a payphone in Utah, and she went to go pick him up and brought him home. However, police couldn't find enough evidence on him, so he wasn't charged. He was just let back out into society. Nothing happened. I mean, if you had enough to connect him to the case,
with the cell phone,
and for him,
why is he at least at the very minimum the Dublin, California case?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So he wasn't charged. So the officer in Dublin,
and I have to say, he doesn't show his face during these invasions. So
correct.
The victims cannot see him. So Denise could not see him.
Right.
The family couldn't see him in Dublin. So
yeah, it's not like people could identify him.
Yeah.
So the officer in Dublin, Misty Caruso, still felt like something wasn't right. So she was just having these feelings of like, I need to figure this out. Something's not matching up. So she reached out to the owner of the white Mustang that was stolen. And so the person told her that it was stolen on the same night that Denise Huskins was kidnapped. And so she reached out to the owner, and this person told her that the white Mustang, was stolen the same night that Denise Huskins was kidnapped. So the more that this detective researched all of this, the more she started to realize that there were a lot of similarities in Denise and Aaron's case and in the Dublin case. So she was starting to connect these 2 cases, maybe thinking that it could have been the same person. After many attempts of trying to reach the Vallejo Police Department, nobody's answering the phone, nobody's returning phone calls, she finally got in contact with someone, and they told her to call the FBI.
Because I think she saw a picture of Denise and she saw her blonde hair. And she was like, wait a second.
Yes.
That could be the blonde hair.
But why can't she get anybody to answer her?
They're
not interested. Done.
Yeah,
done deal.
Yeah,
Done
they've
deal.
already come out and said that it was all a hoax. They've already made their statements. They're not going to backpedal now. They're going to dig their heels in even further and harder.
Yeah, it's just disgusting. This detective is like going above and beyond, doing what she even had to do. She wasn't feeling right. Something inside her was telling her something's wrong. I need to do something. So she calls the FBI. After speaking with them, they started to investigate and found that Matthew Muller had a storage unit in Vallejo. They also found multiple things in his home, including the goggles, zip ties, laser pointers, and more things. So after the authorities checked the GPS on the stolen car that Muller used to drive Denise back to her mom's apartment, the white Mustang, they found that he typed in the address to the exact spot that she was dropped off at. Once they searched his home, they found recorded conversations with Denise and Muller, and even the video recording of him having sexual contact with her. So the police also found drones in his storage unit, and that he confessed to using them, and he was watching the couple from months prior to the kidnapping. So he was flying
With the
drones over their home, watching them. And I wonder, how far in advance was he doing this? And was he looking at Denise, or was he looking at Andrea?
I'm just wondering, because they never made it clear, and I'm just going to let you guys know, they never let us know what was the connection between Andrea and this guy.
Yeah.
Like, why was he after her?
Mm-hmm.
Why was he watching her? Because all along, the whole time he's flying these drones, at the time, Aaron was with Andrea.
Yeah.
For those months ahead of time.
Yep.
And then he starts dating Denise. And so all of a sudden the girl changes, but he doesn't know this.
Yeah.
I just wondering, what was his fascination with Andrea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, because they don't touch on that at all. And this is a really lengthy episode. And so to go into that, and maybe we'll have to research that and see.
Well, Andrea never comes forward. She didn't want to
talk about
it.
Nope,
And
does not want to talk about it.
she's never come forward and said why.
There's like very few clips of her in the show of her being questioned and stuff, but nothing.
I'm curious also, because they say that, she had this affair, like she was cheating on Aaron. I'm wondering if she cheated on Aaron with multiple people, and so maybe he might be one of them, or that's why she doesn't want to say anything. I mean,
who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, we can speculate all we want.
So then Muller was arrested and charged with Denise's kidnapping.
Denise never saw him, but when she heard him, she knew it was him.
It was him, yeah.
Because of his voice.
So almost 4 months later, a press conference was held letting the public know that Aaron and Denise were innocent and this was never a hoax. So finally they have their day where...
But I just want to say, it wasn't Detective Mustard or Kenneth Park, whatever his name is, that came out and said anything.
Right.
It wasn't them that came up and said, we lied. We stretched the truth.
Nope.
Completely different officer or press person or whoever came out to make that announcement.
Yep. And in 2015, since you're on that note, Detective Mustard was named Detective of the Year.
Thank you. What the hell?
They never received an apology from the police department. Nothing happened. Nothing was ever brought up, talked about again, which is absolutely disgusting to me. So in 2018, Aaron and Denise won a lawsuit against the city of Vallejo for $2.5 million for defamation.
I think they should have gotten more.
Absolutely.
I think it's a lifetime of $2.5 million for being that young is not going to last them till they live to a ripe old age. I think they should have got enough money to where they would have never had to work again. Right. Honestly, I really think.
Yeah.
Because I think it ruined their reputation. It was hard for them to get, because their work fired. They didn't believe them anymore.
Exactly.
They couldn't go back to Kaiser.
Nope.
I mean, they had a good career, good life.
Oh, yeah.
In front
Both
of them.
of them.
Yeah, they should have way more.
Both of them in the medical field.
They lost more than $2.5 million.
Absolutely.
Because of this. I'm sorry.
So Muller pleaded guilty and on March 16, 2017, was sentenced to 40 years in federal prison for the home invasion and the kidnapping of Denise. And in 2018, in a state court, he pleaded guilty to robbery, burglary, and false imprisonment, but originally had planned to plead not guilty. In that case, he was sentenced to 31 years in prison, running concurrently with the 40-year sentence. So Matthew is the only one that was sentenced in this case, which we've said before that definitely more people were involved. Definitely more people were there. And so what I did like that was they were able to reconcile. They went to therapy. They helped work through everything. And they ended up getting married, have, I believe, 2 little girls.
They live near the beach.
Yeah, it looks like
they moved out of Vallejo.
And I think that took a lot of work.
And how are you going to ever trust the police again if something ever
Exactly
happened to you, God forbid, again, and you have to call 911? Would you not be worried? Like,
exactly. Like, what? No, I have no one to protect me.
And what's funny is the other family in Dublin, California, they call the police with the same exact story. Men with the laser pointers, all this, and cops are on it. You know, what a difference in the police force.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the whole police force because I don't want to, say the whole thing. It's just you get a few bad apples and it just ruins the reputation for everybody else.
And they did say, I believe in the beginning of the show, I don't know, I watched so many different things on this. I don't remember where I saw it or heard it, but they had said that just a few years prior to this incident, Vallejo had filed bankruptcy. So
they had no money.
Yeah, they had no money.
So that's why they were nipping things in the bud.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
That money goes over justice. It goes over.
Yeah.
Like, it's
ridiculous.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
I do have a note written down that I wanted to touch on also, where I feel like this was from the get-go completely a setup. Aaron's phone was in airplane mode, which I believe the police department did. They put his phone into airplane mode.
Yeah,
so,
when he was being interrogated, because he was telling them the kidnapper says they're going to contact me.
Yeah.
They're going to contact me. And he never
because his phone was in airplane mode.
But after it was taken out, all these messages started coming up.
Mm-hmm. These are all little things that if they were done differently, there may have been a different outcome in this case. To know that these people not only had to go through all of this, but then not have the support from the police department.
At the very minimum, take the statement, go back, look at the evidence first. Even if you have doubts, you don't jump into it like that.
No.
Especially after you get the phone call from her. Obviously, they're not in any communication together. You've had her boyfriend. At the police station all these hours. Like,
it's a really, really sad case.
I get being skeptical, but not
to this extent.
Not to that. Yeah,
not to this
extent.
I get
it.
You don't do stuff like
until
that.
you get all the facts. You have to just assume that the truth, people are telling the truth.
I've tried to research stuff on Matthew Muller, and honestly, there's not a lot out there on him. There really isn't.
Dude's in jail.
But there will be in given time. I guarantee you we're going to know this man top to bottom pretty soon. So just give the armchair detectives
or some kind of
few months to work.
A writer, an autobiography, an author
something
gets a letter into jail to him, and all of a sudden he's communicating.
Over. Yeah, he's gonna get a pen pal here real quick.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you for watching again this week. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for all of our new subscribers.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, we really love having all of you guys. Please, if you have any cases that you want us to cover, please let us know. We're at 50 States of Madness on Instagram, TikTok, our merch store. It's at 50statesofmadness.bigcartel.com. Pick yourself up a hoodie. It's going to get cold here in Los Angeles this next week. Beanies, t-shirts, tank tops, stickers. We have a bunch of stuff on there. So
check us out
and listen to us also on all podcast platforms too.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good week, and we will see you soon.
Absolutely. Be safe out there. Bye.